How's it going? Matt McNeil coming to you from the garage. I know it's been a minute since I made a video over here on Latex Mask Central, but rest assured I'm still making a giant mess in my garage. Got a couple of Jerry's going, 1, 2, 3, and I'm probably starting to wrap these up. So if anybody else is interested in one of these, get in touch with me. Just because it's time to move on to this guy who is still yet to be done. But I'm still working on him. Still trying to figure all this out. But in the meantime, Mast Fest is coming up over the summer. And I thought that maybe I would get a booth. I don't know. We'll see. That's my plan anyway. So I started doing a few things here just to check some things out. Maybe you guys remember last year and a couple years ago, I was doing these, what I call latex bucket zombies, which are these one-of-one sort of zombies that are based on my skull mask. This is a sculpture that I did, literally the first thing that I did during COVID. And I sculpted this first for my my Jack Goodman mask. And this was the under mask. That mask was a mask that was basically wearing a skin because I wanted the skull to look separate from the corpsed out skin on top of it. So I sculpted this skull mask and then did the Jack Goodman skin on the top of it. Well, this mask has also been awesome for just as kind of like a creative outlet. Like when I'm kind of up to my eyeballs in Jerry's or sculpting on this guy, occasionally I'll pour a skull mask and throw some teeth in there and get some latex out of my bucket and some toilet paper and some paper towels and you name it, and kind of create a skin on top of these to make unique sort of one-of-one zombies. And I thought that maybe for Mast Fest I'd do a handful of these, like 5 or 6 of these. I've got one in the house that you guys may have seen that I did last year, where the sort of like there's a strip of skin missing across the center of the guy's face, and he's just got one eyeball, and his tongue's kind of hanging out. So I figured I would do maybe 5 or 6 of these, right? But one of them, well, I was going to say, one of them I'm probably going to just paint up as a skull, because these masks are pretty awesome, in my opinion. I love them, with just the teeth and the skull colors, and just paint the neck black. The downside to this particular sculpt is that it's small. I made it for my son, so they're generally better off as displays than as something that you would put on your head, unless you have a tiny, tiny head. Yeah, so anyway, so there's that. But then I also, like the last latex bucket zombie that I made, I had a front half of a Jerry laying around, and I sort of pillaged that latex pull. It wasn't a complete mask. I was running a test for something, and I used bits and parts like the ear and the nose and the mouth for that latex bucket zombie. So what I decided to do here is actually pull a thinner copy of an entire Jerry and fit it over the top of the skull. You can see the skull is in there, right? And this one's got blims in it. And again, I kind of wanted to leave it up to fate in the mold as to what pieces of skin I was going to remove in order to reveal the skull underneath. So I'll put some teeth in here. I'll paint this skull underneath. I'll paint this skin up, and I'll shred parts of this face, and I'll add tendons and some hair and all of that good stuff, and see what I come up with. But, you know, mostly I do these so that I can have ears, and if I want eyelids or lips. But it kind of on this one, I'm thinking that what I'm going to do is the top half of the head will be skin, and then from here down will just be shredded. So anyway, or maybe I'll do the opposite, where the bottom half is face and the top half like is just skull, like sort of sticking up out of this kind of face, you know, lower half of a face or something. Anyway, we'll see. But so I'm just kind of messing around right now. I still got to clean this guy up, seams and all, and really kind of figure out how I'm going to do it. But as you can see, this is in fact a mask wearing a mask. So if you do come to Mast Fest, and if I do get a booth, hopefully this guy and some of these other guys will be there. And then the other thing that I was kind of messing around with, like this is some of the latex that's come out of my bucket. See, this stuff is awesome for like just kind of gross skin and stuff. You shred this stuff up or twist it all together and you end up with kind of this like sinewy tendon looking kind of mess. So that's great. But when I was pouring one of these Jerry's, no, actually it was when I was pouring one of these skulls, this mold doesn't seal that well anymore. So he ended up with a gap at the top, and the bucket that I had turned the mask up, the mold upside down in, like literally filled with that much liquid latex. And as someone who doesn't like to waste things, I thought, well, what I can do is I can take a brush and paint that on something and then let it dry and peel it, and then I would have more of this stuff. But I looked over and I had some tinfoil here in the garage, and I thought, well, what would happen if I painted it on tinfoil, because it's got that kind of crinkly texture to it. And lo and behold, when I pulled it off, I ended up with this, which I think could be pretty cool, particularly once it's kind of like stretched. I think that whether this is like a fat layer or maybe even a skin layer, because I could probably come back and stipple some latex texture on this guy. So anyway, I'm going to give this a try and see what happens. And I've got another piece that I have yet to pull. And this one I brushed on even sparser than this because I thought, wouldn't it be neat to have a lot of holes in it? So this might be great for like patching in between, like, you know, let's say I steal his ear and I need to graft it on, then I can use this stuff as sort of like patch pieces, and patch it in between and use toilet paper and, you know, whatever's at my disposal, latex soaked, obviously, toilet paper or paper towels, as a skin layer to kind of bridge all of that stuff together. But stay tuned. So this guy is in progress. I'm messing around, you know, trying not to waste latex, but trying to make like sheets of skin that I can use as grafting panels for these skulls. I got a couple of skulls poured. Yeah, so I'm still busy here in the garage, even though I've been a little bit quiet. I'm still working on figuring out this piece for the top. One of the things that I did for that, though, here, let me set this down. Yeah, so one of the things that I did for this guy, and again, you know, before I think I made a video talking about how I was using hot glue. I went and I bought some red glue sticks, and they are pretty doggone fantastic. So if I can't figure out how to 3D print this thing, and this is all different versions of whatever, I was just trying to get a sense of the thing. But if I can't 3D print this reliably and in a way that I can ship it, the problem is, see, here's the problem. This stuff is like super brittle. It starts to snap when you, like this. Anyway, we'll see. I just don't want to put this stuff in the mail and have it, you know, show up with a box with a bunch of little pieces of red head splatter confetti in the bottom of a box. So, yeah, I'm still scratching my head, but the test I did with, here it is, the red hot glue, pretty cool. And this was just really quick. I just squirted a whole bunch in that bucket there, a bucket of water. But, you know, you come in here and just stick this stuff. And this has got a little bit of permablood on it. I'm kind of addicted to putting permablood literally on everything. But, yeah, this, in the right, if I can make a whole bunch of this stuff out of this, I think I might be onto something. So anyway, we'll see. It's either going to be 3D printed reliably, or they'll be... Every one of these will be custom one-off made head splatters. So there you go. All right, I'm going to get back to it. Hope everybody's having a good night. And I am going to figure out what to work on next. But I am really excited about this guy right here. I have a few ideas. So, and what's amazing is how un-Jerry-like he looks like this, which is great, because if it looked like Jerry, I wouldn't want to do it. Yeah, this guy's looking pretty cool. And I haven't even really started on him. So anyway, hope everybody's having a good night. Talk to you soon.